I'm joined live in the studio by the independent member for Goldstein, Zoe Daniel, who has been among those campaigning for an increase to the single parent payment. Zoe Daniel, thanks for your time. Confirmation today by the Prime Minister that this is happening. It's going to, the government, lift the age where single parents, 90% of which are women, will be able to get a single parenting payment up to the age of 14 when their child turns 14. Do you welcome the move?
I do. I'm really pleased. I was calling for up to age 16 in line with the Women's Economic Equality Taskforce, but I think that 14 is a reasonable compromise. I have a 14-year-old, my youngest is 14, and you can see independence starting to develop in kids of that age, so I think that that's a reasonable point in time. I would say really, Kieran, that this is an economic empowerment move. This is to do with lifting up those largely single women who have children, many of whom have fled domestic violence. 60% of female single parents in Australia have fled domestic violence. So my concern was that we were creating a situation where they had to choose between violence or poverty, and also that their children were then being subjected to either violence or intergenerational poverty. So it is a big step for those families.
Yeah, and so for the Prime Minister, he's made that announcement. He just got back from the coronation, so it was, I think it was personal for him, given his own history.
Yeah, and look, each of us in the Parliament do bring our personal history. We all are the quotient of our experiences, and everyone knows the Prime Minister's background of growing up with a single mum. I think it would have been really hard for him not to do it, given the amount of public conversation that we've had about it. And, you know, we're talking about a relatively small amount of money per week that enables another basket of groceries, filling up the car, maybe taking a child to sport, and also enables those women to get a haircut, buy a shirt, get some transport to go and have a job interview. So it is an empowering mechanism.
No one begrudges that sort of the benefit for someone struggling or living in poverty, like with JobSeeker. However, when the dollars are all going to be spent, and it is a super inflationary environment right now, are you worried the government's not making commensurate saves to make sure this budget isn't inflationary? Well,
we will see when we see the detail tomorrow, but it is to do with what you put in, what you take out. It is a balancing act. There have been some changes, for example, to middle income tax offsets. So there's a potential offsetting mechanism there. The thing is, though, that economists that I've consulted have said this is, okay, every bit of money or liquidity that you put into the economy is inflationary, but this will have a very small impact. And particularly given that the kind of money that is being allocated to these single-parent families will be spent on really basic items. You know, they're not going to be going out buying plasma TVs. You know, this is milk, bread, fuel for the car, paying the energy bills, and allowing these kids to have access to the activities that they need to grow up as, you know, good people. So from that perspective, I think it's reasonable and it's cautious.